Hi guys, it's Craig from MobileTechTalk here. We're with Stve Kondik, the CTO and co-founder of Cyanogen Inc. So we've got a few questions we want to speak to him about. We're here at March of the Droids 2016. He's just in the keynote. So let's get into some questions. Right, so Steve, thanks very much for taking some time out to answer some of these questions. First question we've got is obviously Cyanogen Inc. has become a thing in the last few years. So just give us a bit of a potted history about how it got there and why you created it.
Yeah, so in the we've had the open source project going for roughly about 7 years now, and some really awesome stuff has come out of there. A lot of people really like it. It's it's different than what you're going to find on other devices, it really hits the mark for a lot of people. So we wanted to bring that to the rest of the world, right? Okay. And we wanted to get it on devices out of the box. And so we've been working with different manufacturers, and we've shipped on about 10 devices now already, and we're lined up to do a whole lot more.
Okay, so yeah, that leads nicely on to the second question, which was, obviously we know that Cyanogen OS has actually been shipped from a manufacturing perspective on a number of devices. We can obviously expect that to continue. Yep. Is that something that you're working across a number of brands, you've got specific partners lined up, or is this something that you're continuously trying to work on?
It's a continuous thing, right? Some have been big hits, some have been not so great. We're working on making the software, making the process essentially more scalable, so we can get across more OEMs, because we need lots and lots of distribution, right? Doing lots of device bring-ups is really, really hard. And especially maintaining those devices like on the long haul is also, that's even harder. That's that's kind of what I was talking about in my keynote, right? Yeah. How do you make this easier, right? That's we're hoping to do a lot more.
Good. Yeah, I think most people probably watching this want to hear that. So, obviously there is a Marshmallow build out there at the moment, which is Cyanogen 13.
Yeah, just released for the open source project. Just did the 13 release, like a day ago, and it's ready for 40 devices. And our commercial stuff, we just started the final certification process for the first devices that we're shipping. So you should see that in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, great. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you on Marshmallow is that obviously when you look at Cyanogen and how that kind of took the sort of developer community and actually kind of pushed that forward, is there anything from a Marshmallow perspective that you're seeing them kind of taking cues from you on, and how does that kind of fit into your thinking? Because is that something that you see as a good thing because they've taken that on board and they've said we've fixed that, or is that something that's actively going to move users away from your platform?
It's a little bit of both. With Google picked up a lot of our features. It's just the nature of open source, right? We swipe to dismiss notifications originated in CM, right? And that's a huge thing now. With M, a whole bunch of stuff made its way over. N, it's even more so. A lot of our features made it into N, and that's fine. It keeps us innovating, and it also means that it's less stuff that we have to maintain, and we can go on and do new stuff. And it's been that way since the beginning, right? If you do something that people like, everybody wants to ship it, and everybody will copy it, and that's.
You'll see this throughout the video a lot, guys.
We'll continue that, and we'll continue making new stuff, and that's really what it's about.
So it's not seen as a threat at all. Then it's something that you take with a bit of a pinch of salt. It's nice that they're taking that on board, but it's not going to take users away from your platform.
Right, and in the commercial context, we're doing stuff that we don't think that Google is going to do. That's something completely separate. Where the stuff that we do in the open source project, features and stuff, that kind of comes from everywhere. It's not just Cyanogen Inc. It's the community. It's random people that just show up and implement something cool. It's not these are trade secrets or anything like that. We're trying to build a better experience.
So obviously over the last few years we've seen the sort of halting of the spec race and almost sort of a race to the bottom in terms of the spec race. So with the likes of the Wireless Swift products and OnePlus bringing out sort of a mid-range device. Do you see that kind of bouncing a little bit and becoming more of a race to the middle again, or where do you see that the next step of that particular race? Because it's obviously hit a plateau, hasn't it?
To an extent. The biggest problem is the software. We're kind of nuts about performance, and hey, it's fun. With these low-end devices, like you really need to tweak the hell out of the device to get good performance. So we're pretty good at that. If you try out like the Wireless Swift, you get kind of a good feel for that. We had played around with like some $75 class devices, and actually got a really good experience out of those too. Yeah, so you might see some more of that from us. But I think the mid-range stuff is kind of it's a weird place to be. I think the $250 devices, those aren't going to do so well. I think it's like the $100 devices, the $400 devices, and like the $800 devices are like what people are buying.
We're being attacked by a piece of paper here, guys.
But I think everybody's kind of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks right now. And, some work, some don't. But the really interesting ones are like the $400 ones where it's like we're going to cram everything we possibly can in there, and and skip the things that people aren't really using maybe. Try and cut things like the right way. You end up with stuff like the 1+1 and some other stuff that turns out to be pretty solid devices.
Yeah, absolutely. 1+1 was certainly a favourite of mine. So one of the questions we've got is around the sort of Cyanogen features that you've got. So if there was one particular device at the moment out there that these guys watching wanted to put CM on, what device would it be and kind of why? So would it be a high-end device, or would you kind of specifically push people more towards the low end for the OS?
For the aftermarket stuff, it's across the board, right? Like we run on everything. Everything from most of the Samsungs to all the Sonys and the HTC phones. They all work great. There's some issues with getting it on the Galaxy S7 right now, at least the US models. Hopefully that'll get resolved, because that'll be a nice phone to run CM on.
They've got a temporary root or some sort of solution at the moment, haven't they?
Yeah, I guess the bootloader ended up getting locked on the US carrier models, and supposedly it wasn't supposed to be. So we'll see what happens with that.
And the final question we've got is, obviously Google have released the Android N in terms of the developer preview. What have you seen in that kind of looks like it's come from Cyanogen, or what features in that are you excited about, if any?
Yeah, they we did a whole new implementation of like quick settings for CM13, and it's exactly the same in N. Like it's literally like the UI is exactly the same.
So which one came first?
Ours did, yeah. Well, you never know though. Whenever somebody has a good idea, a lot of people work on it in parallel. I don't know. We did all this stuff in the open, so they could have picked it from us, or they could have just been doing it on their own. I don't really know. That's probably the obvious thing. There's some good stuff in N though, like the multi-window is pretty cool. We'll see where they take it.
Brilliant. Okay, well, this has been Stve Kondik, the CTO and co-founder of Cyanogen Inc., and I'm Craig from MobileTechTalk. Steve, thanks very much for your time. Take care, guys. Check out the link in the description for where you can go and get CM, and where you can download some of the other builds for some of the other devices, and links to where you can hit Steve up on social media as well. So thanks very much for watching, and take care.